Hi, I'm Mary Ekdahl and I'm with the GetTherapy Network, and today we have a special guest. We have Ebony Bennett, who is a billing specialist, and she knows all stuff insurance, so she's going to help us out. So Ebony, I'm so glad to have you here today, because as we start the new year, January is different than a lot of other months and more challenging in some ways when it comes to patient payments. So I was wondering if you could give us some information about why that's true, and maybe we'll talk about what we can do about it.
Sure. So the thing about January is that most insurance plans basically start over. You have insurance plans that are calendar year, which they go from January to December, and then you have some that are more quarterly. They run for 6 months or so. But January is the typical year for insurance rollover. And what that means is that all the patient responsibility that patients may have had for their insurance is reset. So their insurance deductibles come back into play, having to meet out of pocket, their co-insurance, all those things start over at the beginning of the year. And it can be hard because it creates a fluctuation in your income at the very beginning of the year if you're not prepared for it.
Okay, so I just got a little overwhelmed because you said copay, co-insurance, deductibles. Can you explain some of those terms for us so that we can in turn explain them to our patients? Because I know people ask me about those terms, and I don't necessarily know what they mean.
Sure. So basically, deductible, copay, and co-insurance basically outline what patients' responsibilities are regarding their insurance plans. So of course, you know, you pay your premiums. We all do that most of the time. It's through our job, or if you're self-employed, you pay out a premium every month. You also have other responsibilities such as the deductible. A deductible is the larger part of the patient responsibility. It's usually set anywhere from $200 to sometimes maybe $6,500 depending on your insurance plan. And those are patient responsibilities. So instead of the insurance making a payment for your patient's visit, it is the patient's responsibility to pay. They will allow a certain amount for the service, and instead of them paying out by the claim being paid by the insurance company, it'll have to be paid by the patient.
Right, so the deductible is the amount that has to be paid before the insurance starts paying for the patient.
That is correct.
So that's why people are so upset in January.
Yes.
Okay, so they're having to pay those amounts.
Right, it's patient responsibility, and it's up to them to meet that. And then once that deductible is met, the insurance will begin to do their part. So after deductible met, you have either a co-insurance on some insurance plans, or you have just a copay on some insurance plans. And these are all really specific to the person's insurance plan.
Right. So that's where being able to verify benefits and getting the information about what the individual patient's benefits are and communicating that. Now, sometimes a billing company is going to communicate that for you to the patient, or sometimes you may need to have that information to be able to communicate it to the patient. So you want the best thing is to have your patients knowledgeable about what their payment responsibilities are going to be in the coming year, so that they're not hit with a bad surprise when they come into the office. So gathering that information on your patients for the new year and understanding what those payments are going to look like and being able to communicate that is a big part of what you can do to when you collaborate with your billing company, or if you do your own billing, knowing that yourself. So that's great. So otherwise, what other things can we do to help people get ready for the new year in terms of insurance?
Well, information is key, and it's the beginning of the year, so you want to make sure that all your information is up to date as possible. You want to update all your patient demographics, names, date of birth, addresses. Make sure all those things are correct, even your telephone numbers, because if you need to get in touch with your patient to give them information about their deductibles and you don't have a good phone number, then you're stuck waiting for your patient to come into the office, and then you have to share that information. So you want to make sure all of your demographics are up to date. Most of the time, all insurances are going to send out a new insurance card. So you want to copy and put a copy of your patient's card front and back in the patient's record. The reason it's so important to get the back of the card, because it tells your biller, or even you if you're doing it for yourself, it tells you where your claims go to, if there's a submitter ID number that you'll need, even the phone number. Some of these insurance companies have break-off plans, or what we call carve-outs, and you don't go through the normal channels of getting that information. So if you don't have a good telephone number for that patient's plan, you know, you could be going all over the place trying to get information. So you want to keep all that information up to date.
Okay, super. That's great. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. I think this really highlights why a good biller is a really great resource. So we really appreciate you joining us for our series on planning for the new year. I hope we've had some information that was helpful to you.
Good job.